Once called a bomb truck with guns by the U.S. Air Force, the AC-130J Ghostrider is a next-generation gunship with the tremendous advantage to engage ground targets silently and stealthily. Incidentally, the Ghostrider also happens to be the most heavily armed aircraft ever built, carrying a standard 105mm cannon, a smaller 30mm GAU-23 A Bushmaster side-firing chain gun, and several types of state-of-the-art laser-guided missiles. The Lockheed fixed-wing aircraft is also continuously updated with the latest technology, complete with the most requested weapon system in the history of warfare, making it the ultimate battle plane and the stuff of legends. Ghostrider. Despite drawing relatively little attention to themselves, the Lockheed AC-130 gunship and all its variants have become true workhorses of war, used by both the Air Force and its Special Operations Command during the past 4 decades. The AC-130s have been deployed to hotspots throughout the world during urgent matters, starting with Vietnam. In contrast, newer variants have served in the Gulf War, the War on Terror, and Afghanistan, among other special ops missions. The latest addition to the family of AC-130 gunships is the AC-130J, the 4th-generation gunship built to follow American troops around the world for decades to come. Nicknamed Ghostrider in May of 2012, the C-130J was designed as the replacement for the aging AC-130U Spooky 2s. After test flying for the first time in January of 2014, the first fully functional upgraded AC-130J Ghostrider was delivered to the United States Air Force's Special Operations Command in March of 2019, taking part in its first ever combat mission in Afghanistan 3 months later. The aircraft carries out continuous strike operations to this day, including close air support for troops in combat, convoy escort, and point air defense. It also performs deep air support missions that are executed against pre-planned targets and targets of opportunity. The hybrid AC-130J Ghostrider incorporates the flying capabilities of the MC-130J Commando II multi-mission combat transport with the features of the other gunship variations and the air-to-ground combat capabilities of the AC-130. The highly modified aircraft also contains many advanced features, including an improved 2-pilot flight station with upgraded digital avionics. In addition, its fully integrated navigation systems and color weather radar help to provide highly accurate navigation. The latest model surpasses its predecessors in several critical ways regarding warfare, including 6-bladed propellers that provide more thrust and allow it to carry more fuel or ammunition. Thus, AC-130J is lighter, faster, and more efficient than its predecessors, burning up to 30% less gas than other legacy aircraft, and capable of flying at a top speed of 416 miles per hour, all while performing at 1/3 of the cost due to the propellers. The 4th-generation gunship aircraft accommodates 2 pilots, 2 combat systems officers, and 3 enlisted gunners, and can fly a maximum range of 3,000 miles and up to 28,000 feet in the air, almost twice as far and 3,000 feet higher than the Spooky 2. However, it's more than just its state-of-the-art systems that make the Ghostrider the most remarkable version of the gunship yet, as the historic AC-130 has also gotten a massive technological weapons upgrade. In the not-too-distant future, when ground troops in future battles call for close air support, the Ghostrider and its dangerous arsenal could come to their rescue and be feared amongst the enemies as the most heavily armed gunship in aircraft history. Precision Strike Package. The Ghostrider's predecessor, the AC-130U Spooky 2, was the last platform of any kind in the US military to use the 40mm Bofors gun, one of the most used anti-aircraft systems during World War II. The decades-old weapon became increasingly hard to operate and maintain, and Air Force engineers scoured the world for spare parts and ammunition in the early 2000s. Consequently, the Air Force desperately required a weapon system upgrade program, and the result was the development of the Precision Strike Package, or PSP, created by the United States Special Operations Command. The PSP is a modular and scalable kit developed to provide close air support, armed reconnaissance, and armed overwatch capability never before seen in an aircraft. This is achieved through a complex suite of sensors and communications equipment that allows the crew to keep a close eye on the battlefield and point ordnance with greater accuracy. The Air Force launched the initiative in 2010, awarding several million-dollar deals to several contractors to build the system in other C-130 variants. The program has changed over time, becoming the signature of the Ghostriders. Armament. The armament kits under the PSP deal include a mighty 105mm cannon howitzer and a smaller 30mm GAU-23 A Bushmaster automatic side-firing chain gun. With its two stellar 30mm and 105mm weapons, the Ghostriders still provide the same kind of precise direct fire support as their predecessors. However, the true centerpiece of the Ghostriders' precision strike package is the AGM-176A Griffin missiles. The aircraft carries 10 Griffins, each standing nose up in a roughly 4-foot-tall tube mounted in its tail. These laser-guided missiles have a fragmentation warhead and a GPS backup to ensure precise target landing. When it's time to fire, the Griffin missile is launched out of the back of the plane, popping out its fins and orienting itself into the wind stream. When it's far enough away, its rocket motor fires and flies past the plane at great speed. However, this modern weapon is much more expensive than standard shells, and it's reserved for the highest priority targets. These precision-guided munitions add an entirely new dimension to the gunship's capabilities, giving it a more standoff reach, as well as the capacity to engage targets in multiple distinct areas simultaneously, turning it into a vicious 360-degree threat. In addition, the Ghostrider has AGM-114 Hellfire air-to-surface missiles, a GBU-44B Viper Strike glide bomb, and the ability to use wing-mounted GBU-39 small-diameter bombs. Upgrades. The Air Force Special Operations Command delivered the first block of 20 Ghostriders with the howitzer in 2016. At the time, there were concerns about the functionality of the Ghostrider's 30mm cannon. However, the Pentagon claimed that the issues were resolved. To make the volatile cargo-loaded aircraft work safely and correctly, the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance equipment under the PSP also included an electronic optical and infrared sensor, a helmet-mounted queuing system on the crew, and multiple video, data, and communication links. This state-of-the-art mission management system fuses sensor, communication, environment, order of battle, and threat information into a common operating picture for the real-time use of highly dangerous weapons, including advanced fire control equipment. After only a few years in the skies, the Air Force is already in the process of updating some of the aircraft's systems. The latest block of Ghostriders, which the 4th Special Operations Squadron began receiving in March of 2019, features several improvements over the previous aircraft that the 73rd Special Operations Squadron flew in the late 2010s in Afghanistan. The updates include improved center turrets with higher fidelity electro-optical and infrared full-motion video cameras, as well as a new large broadband satellite communications hump fitted on top of the forward fuselage. In 2018, United States Army General Raymond Thomas, head of the U.S. Special Operations Command, stated that unspecified opponents, most likely Russian or Russian-backed, were beginning to employ electronic-based warfare attacks against gunships operating in Syria. Thus, the Air Force is now looking for ways to improve the survivability of all of its remaining gunships against these newly emerging threats. Laser weapons. One of the new inventions to strengthen the Ghostriders is none other than a high-energy laser. Under a contract issued by the Air Force in 2019 to Lockheed Martin, the company has been developing, integrating, testing, and demonstrating the directed energy weapon on the Ghostrider. Lockheed Martin has prioritized the device and put it on a rapid schedule, naming it the Airborne High Energy Laser, or AHL. According to Lieutenant General Marshal Brad Webb, former commander of the Air Force Special Operations Command, the weapon is intended to disable enemy vehicles, communication systems, power sources, and other equipment. When encountering an enemy and in need of attack, the AHL laser will let the already imposing Ghostriders start fires and even detonate enemy ammunition dumps from miles away without anyone knowing the source. The weapon's stealthy approach can cause problems for the enemy or destroy targets without directly implicating U.S. forces, an asset that could be extremely valuable in the gray zone military operations of the modern era and the future. However, the airborne high-energy laser must complete a complex series of tests to prove its accuracy before being installed. Despite unclear reports from Lockheed about when the testing phase will begin, the Air Force Special Operations Command has continuously stated in the past that the plan is to start in 2022. The last Ghostrider deliveries are scheduled for late 2021, and the Air Force's plan is to eventually have a fleet of 37 total aircraft, finally replacing all the remaining aging gunships. With AC-130J is now flying combat missions, The Air Force has undeniably entered a new era of gunship operations, whether the inventive laser is fitted or not. Today, the Ghostrider is the most heavily armed gunship in aircraft history, and the multi-mission aircraft provides close air support to American troops on the ground, delivering unmatched firepower that makes all its enemies tremble at its mere sight. Thank you for watching our Dark Skies video. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and hit the bell icon to be notified of our newest content. Also, don't forget to subscribe to all our Dark Documentaries channels for more exciting historical anecdotes.